Coming up, we cross the international border in the world's last divided capital city.
You'd never know you're a mile away from one of the most controversial borders in Europe.
Noting the differences in culture, language and safety between the two sides of Cyprus. So if I asked you to think of some divided countries, you'd probably say Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, North Korea and South Korea. However, I don't think many people would say Cyprus. Many people associate it with the warm weather, all-inclusive hotels, and all-you-can-eat buffets. However, the island is a lot more divided than people think it is when you peer out your hotel room window.
But so all this makes sense? A quick history lesson first. So Cyprus has human history dating back all the way to the 10th century BC, and it's been taken over by basically every empire, and the British still have military bases here to this day. However, after the British left here in the 1960s, there was huge ethnic tension between the Greeks and the Turkish, and increasing oppression towards the Turkish led the Turkish government to actually invade the island in 1974, and they took over about 3% of it. The UN ultimately had to step in as it was an illegal act of war, and they created a buffer zone about a third of the way through the island, with the Turkish in the north half and the Greeks in the southern half, meaning hundreds of thousands of people had to migrate to each side of the border, leaving their homes and communities. The border only recently opened up in 2003, where people could go across again, and so it's meant the capital Nicosia has been divided for 30 years, the Turkish half completely cut off from the Western world. This means when you cross the border, it should be like going back in time.
So first impressions of Nicosia, it just kind of looks like a normal European city. You'd never know you're a mile away from one of the most controversial borders in Europe and the world really, with all the chain shops like Burger King and McDonald's that's coming up here. But we're about, I reckon, 2 minutes away from the border now. This is the border here. So we're just about to cross over onto the Greek border into no man's land. Thank you. So we've crossed. Have you seen all the one Cyprus writing on the walls? Now crossing into the Turkish side. Hi. Thank you. And now we are in Turkish Cyprus. Technically we've just left the EU. So one of the first things you notice is it's just so much quieter here. There's a lot less people. The language is obviously Turkish, and it's got kind of more Turkish feel, more like a Grand Bazaar feel to it, with all the little side streets. But it's mad, you just cross 20 metres over a border and it's like you're in a completely different place. So this is the call to prayer. It's funny, the car registration plates as well have had the EU symbol scrubbed off. It's clear that it was there, but they've got rid of them because obviously they don't believe they're part of the EU or Cyprus. So this is is actually a pretty good symbol for what happened here. It was a church because the Greeks are Orthodox Christian, and now because the area has been taken over by the Turkish and they're mostly Islam, it's been turned into a mosque. So there's lots of construction turning it into it. But yeah, you can definitely see the church architecture, especially with the entrances that they're just trying to get rid of and turn it more mosque-like. And right next to the mosque there is actually a church as well, but it's just been so poorly taken care of. There's moss and weeds growing out the side and it looks like it's crumbling down pretty badly, whereas the mosque has obviously got construction around it because they're redoing it. Yeah, it's insane, the contrast.
Cafe out there.
Interesting as well how there's loads of cameras everywhere. Obviously they're quite insecure about people coming over still, so loads of CCTVs around the mosque. So what differences have you noticed between both the sides?
Very much more modern in Cyprus. Here's a lot more sort of, they keep it to themselves. It's a lot more inside, it's just their own place.
Give us a Turkish beer review.
It's quite sweet, it's quite nice actually.
Out of 10?
7.
10 out of 10. Give it a try. It is quite sweet. It's better than the Cyprus one, the Kos in the hotel. Give it a 7 out of 10, I agree. And of course we had to go to the pub.
So it was an impossible task to get anybody's opinion either on the Greek or Turkish side of the current situation at the border, as it was such a taboo topic. I asked the taxi driver and he completely dismissed it.
Have you been over?
Yeah. Once time only.
Once. What did you think?
No.
And well, the woman in the hotel was just completely anti against us going.
She said, you're wasting your time. Waste of time. They think it's cheaper over there, it's not. It's rubbish over there. We have a responsibility for the safety of our guests and we can't accept safety over there. So why would we recommend that people?
Would you say feel safer this side than the other side?
No. The other side feels safe, but this side, it doesn't feel like I'm in danger.
What do you think of the difference between both the sides?
I think it's fascinating because this is Turkey.
So this street definitely feels more Turkish. What?
Oh, never mind.
It's actually insane how many fake goods there are. There's absolutely loads, like everything is fake.
One lows.
What do you think the main difference is between this side and Greek side?
It's quite obvious to me. That side sells real stuff, this side sells fake stuff.
So on the Turkish side, there are hundreds of shops selling fake goods, and that's one of the most popular reasons why people actually cross over the border for the day.
How about we agree on quantity and then I'll get to...
I think the main difference is between both sides.
We've got some fake handbags on this side.
So they don't like us filming there, but that is the UN border. So that is the narrowest it gets, about 5 metres, but it extends all the way up to 70 kilometres wide. So 10,000 people live in that buffer zone. And yes, that's when the UN first came in to separate both sides, and it's been peaceful ever since. And we go back through the Turkish side.
But all the ultras.
What's this, Ollie?
So we think this is some kind of peace statue to bring both sides of the border together. I assume. It doesn't have any information on it though. So that was really interesting overall. We're back on the Greek side. It's just so much more like westernised, capitalist, in your face around here compared to the more cultured tone of over the border. That's one main thing I noticed really. But overall really interesting how you can just walk down the high street and be in 2 different countries, 2 different cultures, 2 different languages. Really enjoyed the day and I'd thoroughly recommend it. There's nowhere else like this in the world really. So we'll see you in the next video.